one of the most important and interesting Chinese sayings, which turns out to be a forgery, is that where there's danger, there's opportunity. There's a whole website devoted to this Chinese character. But there is an opportunity for India, and if I was to rewrite the essay now, I would point to the opportunities that India may take advantage of rather than worry about the dangers. India's been obsessed with the dangers in the neighborhood, including from the US at one point. I think they'll look at the opportunities. I think Modi, in fact, would I rewrite the essay, and I would know more about Modi and his strategy now than I did before. And I would say that, to summarize it, India has not squeaked at all, and the squeaky wheels get greased. And India hasn't squeaked, and I think India is going to be squeaking loud. That is, it's going to be doing things, some risky, some dangerous, some positive.
A lot of people have said Indians are argumentative and noisy, but I've never heard squeaking.
Well, they're going to be squeaking, and I think American policy is going to have to reconsider its attitude towards India. Since Strobe's time, India, South Asia, except for Afghanistan, it's been viewed as flyover country. And as a Midwesterner, I know what it means to be in flyover country. There they go, from San Francisco to Washington, back and forth. But India is going to attract more attention, and America has to adjust to that, I think, both administratively and politically and strategically, and it hasn't so far. I think that the big change that I see is that we've all thought that Modi would transform India's economy. I think that's true. He will try to do that if it is a Modi government. But I think that's going to give him more muscle and leverage in foreign policy. And the key country is China plus Japan and Korea. Modi has close relations with China, Japan, and North and South Korea. Bad relations with the US. And I think that he's going to expand this into a strategic advantage for India. That is, he's going to use the economic relationship he has with East Asia, especially China, to enhance Indian power elsewhere. In a sense, the original Nehruvian dream of India becoming one of the 5 or 6 major countries in the world, I think he's going to try to implement that. And I think his goal is to be prime minister for more than one term, so he can complete that. And I think his role model, obviously, is Sardar Patel, also a congressman, but a much tougher man than Nehru is. So I think he'll be tougher towards China, but more cooperative with China. He'll use the new relationship with China to gain influence over Pakistan, over the United States, and generally, and to gain the muscle that India becomes a military as well as a talking power. So I think that's going to be the thrust of his strategy. How the Americans respond to that, I'm not sure. I think so far, again, it's seen as flyover country. So I think that you will see major changes in foreign policy. The domestic side is another issue. I think the big question is whether Modi and the Indian Constitution can get along with each other. Indira Gandhi pushed the limits on that during her emergency, and clearly she pulled back. But I think that there'll be tests of that sort. But it's going to be more than simply an economic policy. Economics will come first, led by investments from China, Japan, Korea. And that's going to give India, I think, more strength and capability. And I wouldn't be surprised if China doesn't become I won't say the regional manager, play a role between India and Pakistan. It's in China's interest to see normal relations between India and Pakistan. Chinese have a huge investment in Pakistan, enormous political and economic as well as military. So I think their view may be, and again, Ambassador Jaishankar would be able to answer this better than I can, will the Chinese eventually see themselves not as the broker in the region, but as seeing 2 friends not being able to get along together and perhaps ease their relationship. In a sense, China could play the role that I imagine for them of the U.S. playing, but I don't see anybody in the U.S. seeing that role.